Welcome back, everybody. It is the Working Brother back at you with another talk. Yet again, Drago Bosnic stuck around. He's got about 10 more articles to get through with us, and I've got a bunch of memes that are left over. This is a comedy show. Nothing we say here has anything to do with reality. And now that's out of the way. Drago, hi. Welcome back. Long time. How's it been?
Yeah, I was just about to say long time no see. It's getting old at this point. I guess I'm going to have to think of something else. So it's good to be here anyway.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And my camera is definitely broke still. Well, the cable, probably. I will look into that probably before I get into the next recording session. But in the meantime, I'm sorry, viewers. As if my appearance was not disturbing enough. Now you've got these... electronic things getting in your way. In any case, don't mind me. I'm just checking on your democracy. We're going to be getting into...
Houthis minded.
Well, actually, considering you mentioned the Houthis, is that a Tomcat, by the way?
Oh, that should be the Hornet, if I'm not mistaken.
This is a Hornet, huh?
Well, let me check. Let me zoom in. Yeah, that's a Super Hornet. Yeah, FA-18.
Yeah. So what was it that was shot down by friendly fire?
Friendly. It's always the friendly fire and the birds and then the wind and the rain and the storms and
don't forget the bushes. Those Russian bushes. We've got the visual of the friendly fire. Was it a Tomcat that was shot down, or what is it called?
Tomcats haven't been used in the U.S. Navy since 2006, so it has to be an FA-18.
Oh. All right. Then I've got my jargon all mixed up. I'm going to skip this one because I want to find the meme. And then we're going to get into the first article of this second part of this talk with you. So, Pentagon debunks its own propaganda on North Korean troops. This I haven't seen. The YouTube algorithm, apparently, the YouTube recommendation settings, the terms of service or whatever it's called, I've never read them, full disclosure. This is a comedy show.
Yeah, and the Pentagon is making the best ones. So,
So apparently, YouTube tells you that you're not supposed to deny the fact that there are North Koreans in Russia, helping them fight the Ukrainians. So we're not denying it. We're just making jokes about the Pentagon making jokes. So tell us, Drago, what did they say here?
Well, the point is they've actually debunked their own propaganda twice. You know how they were saying that there are North Korean generals killed and wounded and captured, and the North Koreans are surrendering because they're hungry and so on and so on. And then on October 25...
No shit, but no, I just heard that they were addicted to porn.
Yeah, I mean... they were saying all sorts of dumb crap, and then then at some point, on October 25, that was the first time. Sabrina Singh, which is a spokesperson for the Pentagon, she was asked about North Korean troops in Ukraine, and she says we have no proof that they are deployed. So there you go. And then she 2 weeks later, actually a week later, that was already early November. She says the same thing. So, I mean, who would have guessed? And I've been saying this for months before. And, the videos that we had that were like the proof of North Koreans fighting in Russia, what we know about is that North Korean special forces have asked to be sent to the front lines to learn something from the Russians, and it's a far cry from 12,000 volunteers who were forced to go there, as the propaganda machine is saying. So the point is, we have North Koreans, but they're mostly specialists in various sorts of artillery and rocket systems and missile systems. Some of them might be special forces, but there's no proof that a division has been sent to fight the war. So it's ridiculous.
Okay, I've just got the meme loaded just in time. Where is that article now? Is this where we are? No. Is this where we are? Yes. Gotta love me some Belarusian news. Oreshnik in Belarus to deter NATO aggression. There's like actual rumors that like didn't the U.S. Embassy like yesterday, the day before, we're recording this on the 24th, so like you might see it like by the end of the year. By the way, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all that in advance. I will probably be missing in action for a while, but in any case, Oreshniks in Belarus to deter NATO aggression. The U.S. Embassy told its citizens to leave Belarus in a hurry. Apparently, like I heard that on Military Summary, I believe. So, what's up with that, Drago? Tell us more.
Yeah, well, it seems as I argued around a year ago, we're back to the 1980s when most of Europe was all in medium range and intermediate range missiles. So the interesting thing is, it's the same thing. I remember that episode.
I might leave a link.
Yeah. Yeah,
that was a good one.
Well, I mean, the point is the Belarusians have now returned to the 80s quite literally, because Belarus was one of the areas where there was the largest number of the most advanced Soviet intermediate range missiles, specifically the RSD-10 or the SS-20 and 28, as it's called in NATO. It's specifically called Sabre. So the Oreshnik is now a far more advanced and also nuclear and conventionally capable intermediate range missile with a range of up to Oreshnik, exactly. So the interesting thing about it is, just like with the Iskanders, Belarus can now control these things. So if you want to, attack Belarus, go ahead. I mean, nothing bad is going to happen to you.
Yeah, I should get that 3 a.m. Meme as a pop-up, not like having to find it every time.
But the interesting thing is, it doesn't even need to be a 3 a.m. pop-up. That's going to be the last thing you see. But the point is, now they get the chance to use something as a warning before that. And of course, this warning is going to be sent directly to the guys who ordered the attack on the Belarusians. Because, for those who don't know, the Oreshnik can actually destroy bunkers where you would be hiding and expecting to be immune to any attacks.
I saw a video shared on one of those channels on Telegram of Russia, an American railgun, electromagnetic railgun shooting out a tungsten core. I think, or maybe an iron rod, I don't know. But the point is that it flies at supersonic speeds, and like you can get the visualization of it going through like multiple layers of reinforced bunker steel and concrete. And that is like a micro version of what's happening with the Oreshnik. So I might find that video.
And the Oreshnik is hypersonic. And I just want to say, for those who don't know, when Putin says it's a Mach 10, that's a massive understatement, because the missile it was based on, which is the RS-26 Rubaj, can go up to Mach 25. So this thing doesn't go less than Mach 20. So it's not Mach 10, it's Mach 20. And of course, if you think a Mach 20 tungsten rod can't do anything to you, well, go look up those videos that the working brother just mentioned, and then multiply that by 20.
You don't have to, because we've got the video right here. Hold on. Both of us and TV. There it is. Yeah. That's full speed, and there it is. That's the core, and it's going through, there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, quite a couple of them. And yeah. And also has that cool Barclay effect. So imagine this, only instead of this thing which weighs like 5, 10, 7 kilos, you get one that weighs like 100 kilos, and then you get like 6 of them, and then you get like, what was it, 6 packages of 6 of them? And
yeah,
you put them all
36.
into a missile, and you put them all into a missile, and then you send them on one target. Sounds like fun. Yeah. Also, rumors that I heard is that all the video that we've seen, all the satellite footage, images that we've seen, like not edited or anything, is actually old. And apparently that facility that was hit Remind me of the name. I forgot the name.
Dnipropetrovsk. You mean the Yuzhmash power plant, right?
Yuzhmash, there you go. The Southern Factory, I guess would be the translation. The Southern Factory was hit with drones previously, and the Maxar images on satellite that are publicly available were not updated when it was hit with drones previously, and apparently what was released now is the damage of the drones and not the damage of the Oreshnik. So there's that possibility as well.
Yeah, I mean, because the Oreshnik can have a conventional explosive, but these were specifically kinetic penetrators. The point is, like, you can't even see the real damage. The real damage is inside. Like, it's like, when you see a guy get hit in a helmet, like, there's no head essentially when a high caliber round hits, but there's just a small hole on the helmet. So that the Oreshnik essentially works the same way. So you would have to go inside to understand the scope of the damage it makes.
As we saw with that little demonstration, the first panel is just going to have a little hole, whereas the seventh or eighth one might actually have some serious damage to it. China stops drone exports to U.S. By the way, I forgot to do this. Drago, links in the description, his Telegram, his articles. He writes for BRICS Info Portal. China stop drone exports to the U.S. To undermine the neo-Nazi junta. Well, I don't think it's only that, but sure. Let's go with that for now. Tell us.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not the sole reason, but it's one of the consequences of this U.S.-led trade war. So, of course, as we all know, the U.S. only has the interest of the Ukrainians at heart. That's the first thing. That's the first thing they do. I mean, they get up in the morning and they think, how can I help Ukraine? Jokes aside, the U.S. is all over the place, as we all know, and as we all know, China is also the largest production economy in the world, and it has been for the last 15 years or so. And of course, without their production capabilities, the Ukrainians cannot have enough resources to build those cheap FPV drones that were giving them a sort of like not really an advantage, but they were making their situation better on the front lines. Well, now, guess what? That's gone now because the U.S. is imposing these sanctions on China, the trade war, and then the Chinese are imposing their own sanctions, and now the U.S. will not be able to buy these civilian drones that are then repurposed for military use. So again, for the Ukrainians who think the U.S. is their friend, look up the info about this a bit, and see how much how much help you're getting.
Man, if people looked up info on anything, we'd be in a much better situation. I think I need to break this up a bit. We've got a couple of memes here sent in by Bulgarski Tankist, which is a Bulgarian tank driver, I guess. Tankist?
Tanker, yeah, that would be a better word.
Tanker. New subscriber in the chat. He sent a couple of them along. We've got the first one here. Bulgarska Babka starter pack. Pretty similar to the Serbian and the Russian, I'm guessing. It's the Slavic thing, I guess. Bulgarian Boomer starter pack. Socialism, medals, and some of the same stuff that we all remember. Let's put it that way. And then we've got he was saying that Bulgaria is really not the dream country that the Serbians think the EU is. So he sent this along. I think it pretty much summarizes. We're well on the way. Where's my cursor? We're somewhere like here. We're dangerously close to 30 years of capitalism. Although we've had 30 years of, I don't know what the fuck you want to call it. Occupation is a good place to start.
Yeah.
That's one way to define it. In any case, How disgraced South Korean defense minister just nearly caused nuclear war. South Korean, wait, what? They caused nuclear war? What? I thought this was going to be about that stupid coup in the most democratic.
Yeah, that's the stupid coup, and that's completely connected. And you know, when I did some research on this, I couldn't fucking believe it because, you know, in recent months I got the chance to talk to some really high, high top-ranking people, if you want. And the reason why this coup happened is, the reason why the nuclear war could have happened is the coup. And the President Yoon, what he was trying to do, and along with his government, they were trying to find ways, because they were very unpopular with the people, and they knew they would not get reelected. They were trying to extend their powers and to essentially impose a dictatorship on the country. And one of the ways to do it is to start a war. So since at least July, but also especially in October and recently, what they did is they launched drones into North Korea, you know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't remember it, but the North Koreans have been saying that they've been having these, you know, drone incursions from the south. And nobody believed that everybody was thinking that this was just a way for the North Koreans to attack.
North Korean propaganda. North Korean propaganda. Exactly. You can say it. You can say
It turns out they weren't lying at all, because this President Yoon.
Wait. We've got breaking news here. Not only is Russian propaganda the truth, North Korean propaganda is also the truth. Mind blown. No, sorry, I had to. It's a comedy show. I have to try.
It's true. You're right. Well, you know, the point is, these guys, they want to make sure, and then they were asking for U.S. help. You know, this is what's important to understand. The U.S. is also involved in this, even though the DNC is trying to present, you know, Yoon as a dictator, and they're trying to separate themselves from him, like just trying to fake that have nothing to do with it.
Didn't the U.S. like State Department tweet or something? We are aware of the situation and we're like looking into it, like, and that's it. That's all they said. They didn't condemn it.
That's all they said. And then the media started, you know, trash talking Yoon because they saw that, you know, they would be very unpopular in South Korea, which they are, by the way. The defense minister Kim Yong-hyun ordered a swarm of drones to be launched in Pyongyang in order to provoke the attack from North Korea, which would justify the martial law that President Yoon imposed. And of course, this backfired. The North Koreans didn't attack, but they could have, right? And then when the defense minister went to jail for ordering the martial law to be imposed, even though there wasn't an actual, you know, there wasn't a legal basis for it. Then he tried to kill himself. I'm pretty sure people remember that he tried suicide, right? Well, it's because he nearly caused nuclear war and didn't want the embarrassment of people finding it out. And now people are, you know, starting to find out. And of course, he's disgraced. And of course, the president is disgraced as well. But, you know, he had no other choice. At least he thinks so.
That's the opinion of Drago. That has nothing to do with my opinion. There's nothing disgraceful. There's no reason to kill yourself. Like, we do not promote like shaming people here.
I should say unalive himself, as the stupid, you know, new euphemism is. Yeah, he tried to unalive himself after realizing that he could have unalived all of us. Perfect. So
yeah, no, I don't know what to say. I had suspicions that it wasn't as you know, blasé as the media put it originally when it was happening, but this is beyond belief. But it's nothing surprises me any day. I mean, these days.
It's not surprising, but anymore. You know, like it's just we didn't know. The point is we didn't know why this was happening, and the reason why the U.S. pushed for this is because the South Koreans and the current like opposition, they want good relations with China and they don't want war with North Korea. That's good enough of a reason for the U.S. to want to, you know, take them out. So the point is, what they want to do is they want this crazy guy to keep ruling in South Korea, because they can use South Korea against China and North Korea at the same time. And of course, the South Korean people would pay the ultimate price. But who gives a damn about the South Koreans? I mean, it's freedom and democracy, man. That's what's good for them, and it's good for the world, right?
Let's do this. We haven't done it this episode. Thanks to everyone who's bought me a coffee. Look, you buy me coffees, and I kind of actually drink coffee. Coffee. No, really. So, you buy me coffees, and maybe one day I'll pull the money out, because I still haven't gotten around to do that. Everybody on Patreon, also, thank you for supporting me there. All 5, 6, 7 of you. And yeah, in case you're wondering why I do this, it's because this channel is not, and will probably never be, eligible for monetization. So yeah, do your thing. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, because that's what really helps, and motivates me to bring you gems like this. We will never abandon Palestine, even if you strike Sana'a with nuclear bombs. Our position will remain firm. The Houthis, they like took their testicles and they put them on the table and they were like, "Here, you want to weigh them?" I don't think your scale is big enough.
I don't know how the fuck they walk, man. I mean, how the fuck they walk with those things, because it explains why they're going so slow in the counteroffensive that's going to drive out the Saudis. That's the only explanation I see.
Speaking of the Saudis, I heard that there was an incursion last night. We're still recording this on the 24th. Last night I heard there was a land incursion, supposedly that was repelled by the Houthis. And when I say land incursion, I mean the Saudi, Emirati, etc., like World War II era tanks, Cold War tanks that they're sending in. For those who have been doing this for a while, this being watching the world and all the miniature conflicts and micro wars happening over the past 10, 15, 20 years, will know that the Houthis are the OG camera GoPro on tank and ambush GoPro videos on YouTube. Like, look into that if you're into like vintage war footage.
For nearly a decade they've been doing it. So yeah, they're the OG, as you said.
Speaking of, some things never change. Mainstream propaganda machine galvanizing U.S. public for war with Iran. Bomb, 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 Iran. Go find that song. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Oh man, I wish it was just ridiculous, because that's pretty much the mind of the people in Washington D.C. Bomb, bomb, Iran. That's what they've been saying for the last 40 years or so, and it seems they're dead set on doing it. They just need a good, pretext, or a bad pretext, as if they give a damn how good that is going to be. So, this specifically was about the drone craze in the U.S. in the last several days or weeks at this point, where they were talking about Iranian motherships, teleporting themselves essentially from the Middle East all the way to New Jersey, and then attacking the New Jersey with these drones. For weeks they've been saying over and over again that those are Iranian drones, until in the end, the Pentagon was first like, we don't have a comment, blah blah blah, and then a few days later they come and say, oh, those are our drones, that we're just measuring radiation. So, I mean. Why didn't you say so before all the news outlets started blaming Iran? You could have prevented that.
Because nobody's going to forget. Nobody's going to forget the Iran thing, and nobody's going to remember the correction.
Exactly. And then, in a few months, they could just say, oh, the Iranians were attacking our democracy and so on and so on. And then they can attack them. So, but of course, this is just the tip of the iceberg of the, propaganda that's supposed to galvanize the Americans into thinking that a war with Iran is a good idea.
118-year-old respectable bipartisan Republican senator from Iowa. Please, God, just let us nuke Iran. Nothing else matters. I'll do anything. Please, I just want to see burning fresh one last time before. Yeah, no comment. I think that covers what you were hinting at with the bipartisan thing in the States.
Yeah.
Obviously it has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with that meme from earlier where that guy was wearing that uniform in that building.
Exactly.
NATO and fans of nuts. What did you want to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the latest news essentially confirmed my point that I was making here. So I wrote this on December 17, where I said, that in previous days we had those 2 Russian tankers that got sunk accidentally by nothing, according to the mainstream media.
Oh, you mean the freak storm?
Yeah, the freak storm that caused the exact same damage on both tankers, which were, several dozen kilometers apart. So
the shitty point Russian tankers, man. They're shitty Russian tankers.
Shitty Russian tankers. That was the explanation. And I did some research.
Makes sense.
On December 12th, the GUR published a list of at least 545 ships of the so-called Russian Shadow Fleet. 338 of which were tankers. So the point is, they do this, and just a day or two later, these freak accidents happen, right? And then the freak accident happens to the Russian General Kirillov, who was investigating the biological research facilities that serve only medical purposes to help save lives. And of course, the Pentagon being the America's main public health department, they care about all these things. Obviously, they have nothing to do with the military and weapons and stuff like that, which is why they were financing the labs, the civilian labs with no bioweapons in them at all. And of course, Mr. General Kirillov was investigating this for years, and then the GUR said, "Oh, he was involved in war crimes, even though he's never been to the battlefields in Ukraine," and then killed him with an IED. So we have 2 unrelated events, and then suddenly in the last several days there are 5 Russian ships, going through freak accidents. So I wrote this before those freak accidents, and I think it's pretty clear that this has been now confirmed by what's going on.
As we're recording this, and probably when you're watching this, there is a poll running on the Working Brother channel. Always approach the polls with caution when you're on the Working Brother channel. 5 Russian ships, civilian government-owned cargo ships, have sunk in the past 2 weeks. Your thoughts? Multiple choices possible. Russians have bad ships. It's normal. What? When did this happen? This is international maritime terrorism. The British, former empire, have yet again sanctioned piracy through a new proxy. The Russians are too relaxed. Coincidence theory. I am looking forward to future retaliations. The circumstances of the accidents make this very suspect. I don't vote. Let me see the results. Little spy guy. So yeah, go join the Working Brother on Telegram. It's lots more fun than it is here on YouTube. I think we covered that.
Yeah. It's interesting how that works, right?
I don't know what to say. I'm looking forward for future news. Let's put it that way. Western propaganda narrative on Syria collapses like a house of cards. What do you mean? They're liberal, democratic forces. What do you mean? I was talking, I think I might have mentioned this when I was doing another talk with another guest, but in case I didn't, or in case you didn't hear me mention it, then I was talking to a friend, and he was like, what? There's lynchings? Come on, man. I haven't seen any lynchings. And I'm just like, dude, that's like me telling you, like, I don't watch soccer and I haven't seen them kick the ball. You know what I mean? Like, just because I don't fucking watch it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So yeah. Anyway, do you want to tell us?
Yeah, this was, I had a bit of an intro about all the democratic, propaganda. I mean, lies and everything else that they've been saying about Syria for decades. And then, I compared that to what they're saying now, and I specifically compared the CIA. Oh my God, I said CIA, but I meant CNN. By the way, that was completely accidental because they have nothing to do with each other, right? So the CNN found this guy in the Sentnaya prison, and the guy was clean shaven, and he was so happy to be out after all those decades, being in the prison held by the evil Assad regime, until it turned out that the guy wasn't actually held anywhere. And then the CNN tried to salvage the situation by claiming that the guy was an Assad agent that was implanted to discredit them, as if Assad ever had to do anything to discredit the CNN.
So basically, you're basically saying that the CNN and or whoever else filmed him used him for the propaganda piece, and then basically gave him a death sentence.
Yeah, pretty much, because the guy he didn't do a good of a job. He wasn't convincing at all, right? And then
he was more convincing than the guy hopping on the wrong foot. Have you seen that? Yeah. The guy hopping on the wrong foot, that was good.
Exactly. Or the kid who was 10 years old and he was looking for his father for 14. So yeah.
I think we did that one. I think we showed that one in detail. Yeah. We've got a meme here from Hawken, the florist. Everybody may realize that any resemblance, just like this comedy show, to reality is purely coincidental. Also, Ukraine is ready to help Syria prevent a food crisis. Zelensky. Let's not forget about that. Zelensky is ready to step in. And
wait, didn't like Putin steal all their grain? Like, how is he going to do that?
I can't remember whether Putin stole their grain or Putin stole the oil from the Syrians.
He might have done both of those things. Yeah, I mean,
I can't remember. Was it Putin or Xi? I keep mixing them up. They're both so evil and tyrannical, and they look the same.
Some people who just like to keep invading other countries, for no reason at all. I mean, it's horrible. Before we move on, I just want to mention one more thing about this article. There was this video of the ABC News chief international correspondent. I forgot his name. Oh, James Slongman. Yeah, it says here. And while he was talking to these, Democratic moderate guys, he had to prompt them to remove their ISIS patches from their uniforms because you can't have ISIS patches, and because
Syrian girl shared that on Twitter. I saw that. That was hilarious. It was like, please don't show everybody you're Al Qaeda. You can be Al Qaeda, but just like don't show everybody.
Yeah, don't show it, man.
What?
Like narrative is important, and we can't have like Russian disinformation on live TV, man. Just don't do it. Like, remove that. He was
obviously a Russian plant.
But don't mind the flag, don't mind the ISIS flag, just white and with black letters. They were decent enough to invert the colors, so as not to make it look a bit less of an ICC, so.
Yeah, no comment. Where is this is it? Georgia's roadmap for reconciliation with Russia and the sovereign future. You mean Georgia's ability to become a Russian colony?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I mentioned several things that could be resolved thanks to this. And of course, you can't have Georgia being a democratic country with a government which is not anti-Russian, obviously. So now you have very democratic leaders such as Zelensky giving advice to the Georgian people. The guy who hasn't had elections in half a decade and who banned all the other political parties. Obviously, that makes him very democratic. And then, of course, we had other cases in Romania and Moldova and these other countries that NATO wants to enlighten with democracy. So the Georgians are kind of sick and tired, because when somebody comes to your country and tells you that you should you should embrace the values of the EU and NATO, which includes a lot of things that are connected to the NATO reporting name of the MiG-15 and these other things that you have to do to become democratic, then the conservative Georgians, who are mostly Orthodox Christians, say, "Well, fuck off. We don't want to do that because that's against our religion and against our culture." And of course, the West was essentially supporting the wrong guys in Georgia all these years because they were investing in these crazy NGOs that were promoting these so-called Western values, and of course that became pretty much repulsive to most Georgians, especially when they see what the West has turned into right now. So they are essentially just rejecting this, which is why they brought in the kids, and like 30% of all protesters were foreigners, and so on and so on. So the point is, I think for Georgia, this is a unique opportunity, not just to reconcile them, with Russia, but also to improve its position, its economy, and to connect itself to the BRICS. And one of the things I mentioned is, if they finally reestablish ties with Russia, what could happen in the future? The Russians and the Georgians and the Abkhazians and South Ossetians could finally come together, talk about certain things. Maybe Georgia can even restore its territorial integrity in this way. It's going to be complicated, but they can do it at some point. They have far more, it could fail too, but have far more, chances of doing this if they have good relations with Russia. Because what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is what NATO was offering to them. And NATO in March 2022 offered them to open a second front and get, wiped out by the Russians.
This is Georgia we're talking about, not our southern province, right?
No,
I got confused for a second.
We're talking about Georgia. Yeah, we're talking about Georgia, exactly. Our situation is far more complicated. So, yeah.
I just making little parallels for new Serbian viewers who might have not known that we covered many of these topics and how there are very many parallels here. Subscribe, check out some of the older videos. There are a lot of things to watch here on the channel. I forgot to bring this up when we were discussing Arabs. This was sent in. I died laughing. Capture the Arabs and jam. This would fool any AI. Also, that's what you look like, you Sunni Arabs supporting the jihadists. It's instead and those jihadists, man, I saw them I saw a video the Russians are moving their troops around within Syria, and I saw the first video that surfaced where they were driving by and everything was cool, and then the second video that surfaced where the jihadis are ooh, blah blah blah, and then the third video where they're throwing rocks at the Russians, and I'm just you're throwing rocks at the Russians and the Israelis are 50 kilometers south and you're just letting them into Damascus basically. It's okay buddy, you got problems. So yeah, Sunni Arabs, get your shit together. Lots of things going wrong. Putin taunts NATO SAMABM systems while a Russian military laughs at them. Go on, Drago.
Yeah. For those who don't know, SAM is surface-to-air missile, and ABM is anti-ballistic missile. So the first one is against aircraft. The second one is against missiles. So what happened in this case is, I'm pretty sure people remember, it's quite recent. It's December 20th. Putin essentially offered NATO to pick a target in Kiev anywhere and to put all their defenses of any kind and then expect a Russian attack, in that area. So they would have a heads up, and then try to shoot it down.
You know what's funny? if the Americans / the controllers were actually willing to like do this, they would be like absolutely suicidal, because all the Russians would have to do is like send in 2 Oreshniks. You know what I mean?
But the point is, they couldn't even shoot down one. So whatever happens.
But this way, they could take out the target plus all the other anti-air that they line up there as well. It would be like a win-win-win-win. And it would be a healthy hazelnut spread for everyone.
But the point is, because the Patriot can shoot down like 6 out of 2 Zircon missiles. Well, it shouldn't be a problem, right? I don't understand why they haven't just accepted the offer. But they haven't. And then just a day or so later, you had the Russian military take out like 4 Patriot launchers. So and a few radars and stuff like that. All of that with those outdated Russian missiles that the Patriot supposedly keeps shooting down. So
I guess actually haven't seen those statistics, but I gave up because like following them is a little bit pointless unless you're really getting sources like you do, which actually have facts. What you see on Telegram is just forwards. It's like the protests in Egypt, which turned out to be old footage. Well, it's like, no shit, it's old footage. It's like compressed. But in any case, I still have to get confirmation from my Egyptian friend if there is actually protests in Egypt going on. Maybe I will record another recording before the end of the year. Maybe not. You never know. So like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We've got a couple of memes here. We're done with your articles, I think. The last one is that Newland article, but we already discussed that in the last talk, and we don't like to talk about things more than twice. Especially when we discussed the possibilities of that, even when she got fired or quit or whatever from her previous position, which was when, like a year ago. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of
2024 February, I think.
There's a lot of us talking about things before it happens here on the Working Brother Talks. Lots of very knowledgeable and good guests. Musk is not your friend, by the way, people in Serbia, people in Kosovo. Like, if Musk is sending you fucking Starlink, he's not sending it for you to get internet. He's sending it for his like military robots to get testing, or for the jihadis that he's training there to get used to the technology of using it before they get to Syria. I mean, this is a joke that I heard on a subway in Belgrade.
The subway has nothing to do with reality. I can confirm that he's lying and none of it is true, and that's not how it works, and it hasn't been working in Ukraine exactly the way that he described it. So so also Elon Musk, this tweet, Namakat National Meme Coordination Body came out with this meme, Starlink na Kosovo from 1355. That is true. That is a fresco, I believe it's called, in a monastery or a church. I think it's a monastery. But I correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, Serbs, but I believe that was destroyed and recently defaced or destroyed. But that fresco is no longer there, as in that was erased from history, along with other things from Serbian history and Kosovo. Well, speaking of, I'm not sure about that one specifically, but they've been destroying like hundreds of Serbian medieval churches and monasteries and other, other Serbian heritage, like medieval cities and castles, or and those that haven't been destroyed, now they're calling them theirs. They're saying that those are old Albanian monuments, even though you can't find a single Albanian monument built in Kosovo before the 20th century. So,
You don't understand. History is fake. It's all Serbian propaganda. Serbian and Russian time-traveling propaganda. So, shout out to Serb News. This happened recently. Yesterday, Serbia voted for the UN resolution against the glorification of Nazism and neo-Nazism. All of Serbia's neighbors voted against the resolution. I was like, wait, what? All of them? And yes, all of them. All of them. Like, all of Serbia's neighbors voted against it. So there's that.
All of those happen to be in NATO, or NATO occupied, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to react to that, but if you think you got problems in Russia with Nazis, welcome. Hi, not our first time. All different shapes and flavors, from like the Catholic ones to the Muslim ones to the like lost communist ones to like we got all kinds of them. In any case, Drago, is there any high note that you want to end this? Because this might be the last recording. This might be the last Working Brother Talks of this year. If it is there like a this year's conclusion that you want to bring out? How did your 2024 go in the like military, political,
Oh, it was crazy. I barely got any sleep, so I just hope that whoever hadn't got any sleep or enough sleep this year, the next one is going to be better. But somehow I doubt that's going to be the case. To end on a positive note. So yeah.
Yeah, what can I say? Nobody expected what was happening this year, but if you look back at some of the Telegram posts from last year, I was really hoping that some things would change, including the situation in Gaza. So
we never expected that it's going to be 100 times worse, but that's what it is.
Exactly. On that yeah, hopeful note that maybe next year will be a little bit better. At least for the ones who are suffering the most. Let us put it that way. Thanks everyone who stuck around to the very end of this talk. And like, share, subscribe. You know what to do if you are already here. And let's hope that this camera sorts itself out before we start recording again. Thanks for sticking around, and see you later. Drago, thanks again.
Bye, man.